Imagine a man whose name conjures images of cunning political maneuvering, ruthless ambition, and cold realism. A figure so influential that his ideas still ripple through the stories we tell today. Niccolò Machiavelli, the Florentine diplomat and philosopher, is often remembered as the archetype of political shrewdness, a man who dared to speak of power without the veil of morality. But Machiavelli's impact extends far beyond the corridors of Renaissance politics. His ideas have seeped into the very fabric of modern literature, shaping how authors craft characters, plot intrigue, and explore the human condition. Welcome to the Unfolding Journey YouTube channel, where we delve into fascinating intersections of history, philosophy, and culture to uncover stories that shape our world. Whether you're a lover of history, literature, or philosophy, you're in the right place to expand your understanding of how past ideas continue to influence modern narratives. Today, we embark on a journey from the cobbled streets of Renaissance Florence to the sprawling landscapes of contemporary fiction, to explore how Machiavelli's philosophy has left an indelible mark on modern literature. We'll look at his key ideas, his historical context, and how writers have adapted, and even challenged his legacy. Niccolò Machiavelli, 1469 to 1527, was an Italian diplomat, philosopher, and writer during the turbulent Renaissance era in Florence. At a time when city-states were embroiled in constant power struggles, Machiavelli's career in diplomacy gave him first-hand insight into political intrigues and the precarious nature of power. His most famous work, The Prince, is often regarded as a handbook for rulers on how to maintain authority, famously advising that the ends justify the means. What made Machiavelli revolutionary and controversial was his frank approach. Unlike many thinkers of his time, who idealized virtuous rule and divine right, Machiavelli described politics as it is, a ruthless game where morality often takes a back seat to pragmatism and survival. He introduced the notion that a successful ruler must sometimes engage in deception, manipulation, and cruelty if necessary. Ideas that shocked his contemporaries and still spark debate today. But how does this political treatise translate into fiction? How do Machiavelli's real-world strategies become literary tools? To understand this, we first need to explore his core concepts and why they resonate in storytelling. Machiavellian principles: power, realism, and human nature. Machiavelli's writing centers on three interrelated themes. The nature of power. Machiavelli viewed power not as an abstract ideal, but as a tangible force that must be grasped and maintained through action. He emphasized that power is fragile, and rulers must be vigilant and often ruthless to hold on to it. Political realism. Rejecting utopian ideals, Machiavelli championed realism, accepting the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. This approach acknowledges human flaws like greed, ambition, and cruelty, rather than assuming people act solely on virtue. Human nature. Machiavelli was skeptical of human goodness. He believed people are motivated largely by self-interest, fear, and desire for gain, which necessitates a ruler's cunning and sometimes harsh methods to maintain order. These principles resonate deeply with literary storytelling because they explore conflict, motivation, and moral ambiguity, all essential ingredients for compelling fiction. One of Machiavelli's greatest influences on literature is the archetype of the Machiavellian character, a figure who embodies cunning, strategic manipulation, and often moral ambiguity. This character is a master of deception and realpolitik, willing to do whatever it takes to achieve goals, often at the expense of others. This archetype appears across genres. Shakespeare's Iago in Othello. Iago's duplicitous manipulation mirrors Machiavellian tactics, playing on jealousy and trust to destroy his enemies while maintaining a facade of loyalty. Lady Macbeth in Macbeth. Her ruthless ambition and willingness to orchestrate murder for power reflect Machiavellian pragmatism. More modern examples, like Frank Underwood in House of Cards, clearly embody Machiavellian principles, using manipulation, deceit, and strategic cruelty to climb political ladders. The Machiavellian character challenges readers to question morality, power, and the nature of leadership, making stories richer and more psychologically complex. Machiavelli's ideas permeate not just characters but also themes and plots in modern literature. Power and ambition. Many modern narratives revolve around the pursuit of power and its corrupting influence, echoing Machiavelli's insights. In novels like The Godfather by Mario Puzo, the struggle for control, loyalty, and survival within a criminal empire reveals the dark pragmatism Machiavelli described. Similarly, dystopian fiction often reflects Machiavellian realism. In George Orwell's 1984, the party's ruthless maintenance of power through surveillance, fear, and propaganda demonstrates Machiavelli's principle that rulers must sometimes resort to cruelty to sustain authority. Moral ambiguity. Modern literature frequently embraces moral ambiguity, a hallmark of Machiavellian philosophy. Characters are rarely purely good or evil. Instead, they operate in shades of gray, driven by self-interest, survival instincts, or complex motives. Take the anti-heroes and morally conflicted protagonists in contemporary fiction and television. Walter White from Breaking Bad, Tony Soprano from The Sopranos, or Thomas Cromwell in Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall. These characters reflect Machiavelli's skepticism about virtue and expose the complex relationship between morality and power. Strategy and manipulation. Machiavelli's emphasis on strategy and manipulation as tools for survival is evident in many modern plotlines involving political intrigue, corporate warfare, or social maneuvering. Stories often highlight the importance of cunning over brute strength, showcasing how intelligence and calculated moves can outwit opponents. Machiavelli's influence also extends to how stories are structured. His pragmatic approach to power dynamics encourages narratives that emphasize cause and effect in human behavior. Choices lead to consequences, alliances shift, and no one is truly safe. This influence is particularly clear in the rise of the political thriller and realist fiction, where plot developments hinge on characters' strategic decisions. Writers inspired by Machiavellian thought often construct stories where unpredictability and pragmatism drive the narrative tension. Why does Machiavelli continue to resonate so strongly in modern literature? Because literature acts as a mirror to society, reflecting our ongoing struggles with power, ethics, and human nature. Machiavelli's unflinching look at these issues forces readers and audiences to confront uncomfortable truths about ambition and morality. By grappling with Machiavellian themes, literature invites us to ask, what price are we willing to pay for power? Can good leadership exist without pragmatism? How do personal ambition and societal good coexist? These questions remain as relevant now as they were 5 centuries ago, and authors continue to find fertile ground in Machiavelli's ideas to explore them. From his political treatises written in the turmoil of Renaissance Florence, Niccolò Machiavelli's influence has transcended time and discipline, deeply embedding itself in the fabric of modern literature. His concepts of power, realism, and human nature have shaped character archetypes, themes, and narrative structures that challenge readers to explore the darker, more complex sides of humanity. Whether it's the manipulative villain, the ambitious anti-hero, or the morally ambiguous plot twist, Machiavelli's shadow looms large over the stories we tell. His legacy reminds us that fiction, like politics, often reflects a pragmatic and sometimes ruthless reality. One where power is not just about ideals, but about survival and strategy. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey from Florence to fiction. If you enjoyed this exploration into Machiavelli's literary legacy and want to dive deeper into the connections between history, philosophy, and storytelling, don't forget to subscribe to The Unfolding Journey. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode as we continue to unravel the stories that shape our world. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep unfolding your own journey.